بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي آمين يا رب العالمين. Jazakumullah khair guys for staying behind. I promise you, inshallah, I'll try to make this worth your while and worth your time. You know, whenever we get together to talk about the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there's this just positive energy, because the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is supposed to provide us with positive energy in our life. So for some of you that perhaps were here before Ramadan, we started talking a little bit about Surah Yusuf, and we mentioned the first couple of verses in the surah that kind of introduces the topic, introduces the story. And today, inshallah ta'ala, what we're going to be actually talking about is starting to get into the actual story, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala starts talking about Yusuf alayhi salam. So this is verse number 4 in Surah Yusuf, for those that ever want to go back to it and kind of check it out. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِذْ قَالَ يُوسُفُ لِأَبِيهِ يَا أَبَتِ إِنِّي رَأَيْتُ أَحَدَ عَشَرَ كَوْكَبًا وَالشَّمْسَ وَالْقَمَرَ رَأَيْتُهُمْ لِي سَاجِدِينَ. Brief translation of that is when Allah says, subhanahu wa ta'ala says, tell them or bring up when Yusuf told his father, "Oh my dear father, I have seen 11 stars or 11 planets," it depends on how you want to translate it, "and I saw the moon and the sun, and all of them, I saw them prostrating to me." So this was a dream that Yusuf alayhi salam had, and he told his father. Now there's a few things. Number one, what do we know about Yusuf at this point? Scholars mention that Yusuf at this time was around 12 or 13 years old. 12 or 13 years old. He had a younger brother. His younger brother's name was Binyamin, or in English, Benjamin. Right? So just for the sake of our discussion, we have Joseph, we have Yusuf, and we have Benjamin or Binyamin. Binyamin was an infant. He was very, very young. Now, both of them came from the same mother. Yaqub is their father, was another prophet, and they came from one mother. And then they had another 11 brothers. Actually, they had another 10 brothers who came from a different mother. So they have the same father, so there's 12 altogether. 10 from one mother, 2 from one mother. At this point, the mother of Yusuf is not around. Historians said that she was dead by this time. Some of the historians even mention, and this is mentioned in some of the books of the Israelites, that she died giving birth to his younger brother, Binyamin. So Yusuf, from a very young age, he did not have a mother. But his brothers had a mother, and she kind of played that role in his upbringing. Yusuf alayhi salam goes to his father, and he says, "Oh my father, I saw this dream." Who was the father of Yusuf? Who was the father of Yusuf? Yaqub alayhi salam. Yusuf and Yaqub are both from Palestine. They both from Palestine. That's where they originated from. And later on in the story, when Yusuf goes all the way to Egypt, and kind of some of the story goes along, but originally both of them are from Palestine. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us of this dream. Before we even get into what this dream is all about, what does a dream symbolizes? When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala started the story with a dream, because by the way, did events happen between Yusuf and his father, or between just in Yusuf's life prior to this incident? Of course, he was 12, 13, a lot of things must have happened. Why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala choose that the story starts with a dream and nothing else? I actually forgot the chocolate at home. I apologize. I did promise I'll bring some chocolate, but I don't have it with me. But inshallah, next class, I'll try to bring that. But why did Allah start the story with a dream? What do we know? What can we learn from that? Think about the dream itself. What does a dream symbolizes? Any thoughts?
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is communicating with him.
Okay.
He's giving him a message.
Very good. He's given him a message. Okay. What does good dream usually mean? Forget the dream for a second, but when somebody gets a good dream, what does that show you? Or what does that tell you about them?
It's like rahmat.
Very good. Actually, some of the scholars mentioned that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is starting the story with a high level of hope. Because dreams are meant to symbolize His hope. Yani Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even for us, when you use the word dream, it's like, man, I have this dream that in 10 years, I'm going to be a millionaire. I have this dream that in 10 years, I'm going to have 5 kids. Man, I have this dream, right? Martin Luther King, he said, I have a dream. Dreams symbolize hope, mercy. Now, this is very interesting because this story is supposed to be to who? Our Messenger, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Because this entire surah was revealed when the Prophet ﷺ was at a low point in his life. What is interesting is that before the Prophet ﷺ, our Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, before he received the revelation, what did he get for 6 months? He got revelations in his dreams. Which means the Prophet ﷺ would see something in his dream, he would wake up the next day and it would happen in front of him. And he would have another dream, and then something will happen right exactly as he sees. For 6 months before he gets his first revelation, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will send him all these dreams. To the point that the Prophet started questioning, how is this even possible? Like every dream I have, the next day it happens. But Allah was preparing the Prophet for revelation. Some of the scholars mentioned that from this beginning of the surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling the Messenger sallallahu, this surah is for you. Yes. The same way your revelation, the same way your message started with dreams, the story of Yusuf also starts with a dream. That up to this point, there's nothing else that Allah mentions to us except that the dream that Yusuf has, alayhi salam. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the very beginning, He's telling our Prophet sallallahu, this surah is for you. Because I know what you're going through. I know the difficulties you're going through. And the Prophet ﷺ received this surah in a very difficult time in his life, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Now, talking a little bit about dreams. Dreams are of 3 types. Any of us can go through these 3 types of dreams. The first dream is what is called hadithul nafs, okay? Which is basically you thinking about something and you see it in a dream. So you have an exam next day and you study all night long and all you're thinking about is the exam. You go to sleep, you dream that you're in a classroom taking an exam. Happens to all of us, right? You're thinking about some food and you're hungry, you eat, you go to sleep. Before eating, you dream of a steak. Whatever it is, right? Whenever we think of something before sleeping, we see it. It was actually a story, it's a side story. One of the mashayikh from Egypt, he says a man came to him and says, "Oh Sheikh, how do I see the Prophet in my dream? I want to see the Prophet in my dream." He says, "Okay, come over my place. We'll have dinner together and I'll tell you the secret." He says, "All right, cool." He's very excited. He goes to the Sheikh and the Sheikh offers him dinner. But the man says the dinner was extremely salty. It was very salty. Everything I eat was super salty. The rice is salty, the chicken is salty, everything, even the salad is salty. So the man, he's sitting with his teacher, his sheikh, and he's eating. And at one point he goes to the sheikh, he's like, "Sheikh, can I get some water?" He's like, no water for you. He's like, "Sheikh, it's really salty, like I want some water." He says, "Can I get some water?" He's like, "No, just keep eating." So he kept eating. He was like, "Sheikh, I really want some water." He was like, no water for you. We don't have water here." He was like, "Sheikh, please, I want some water. Like I can't take it anymore." He was like, no. So he was like, "Fine." So I kept eating, I finished dinner, and then now I went to my sheikh. I said, "Okay, sheikh, can you tell me the secret?" He was like, "Listen, why don't you go to sleep? I wake you up for Fajr, and I'll tell you the secret." He was like, "Man, I came here for the secret of seeing the Prophet ﷺ." So the man goes to sleep, he wakes up in the morning, and the sheikh goes to him and he says, "Did you have any dreams?" He says, "Yes, sheikh." He's like, "What did you dream about?" He's like, "Sheikh, I dreamed about water and rain and rivers and oceans. There was so much water in my dreams that it was so much." He looks at him and he says, "The reason you had this dream is all that you think about before going to sleep was water. If you want to see the Prophet ﷺ in your dream, make sure that the last thing you think about before you sleep is the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam." And that was the secret of that sheikh. So subhanAllah, we have a lot of, one type of the dream is the stuff that just comes to our mind. Whatever goes on in your life. And some of the scholars say that you never act on these things. Right? And some of the signs of these dreams is that you forget them really quickly. The second type of dreams are called hulum, which are from shaitan. And they're meant to do 2 things. Number one is to scare you. Or one of the signs that you wake up scared, or you wake up sweating. If you wake up in the middle of the night or in the morning or whatever and you're sweating, that means this dream was from shaitan. And if you wake up scared, terrified because of something bad happened, also know that it is from shaitan. And our Prophet ﷺ tells us that when something like this happens, you wake up, you say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. If you can make wudu, you should go make wudu. If you can pray 2 rak'ahs, you should make 2 rak'ahs. But the least is that you wake up and you say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim 3 times, and then you try to ease yourself back to your sleep. The one thing is that you never act on these dreams. For example, Qiyas al-Qadi, he gave a really good example when it comes to this. He says, if in your dream, let's say in your dream, may Allah protect all of you guys and your families. Let's say you get in a car accident. You dreamt that you got into a car accident on your way to work. You never wake up in the morning and say, you know what, I'm not going to go work today because I don't want to get into a car accident. No, because that's exactly what shaitan wants. Shaitan wants to mess with you. Because shaitan doesn't know the future. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows the future. So you never act on these bad dreams. The third are dreams from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And these dreams are usually, you wake up usually smiling or happy. That you, for example, you see a dream that you got married. You see a dream that you were blessed with a child. You see a dream that you got a better house. Or whatever, actually a dream that makes you happy. It never makes you feel bad. You actually wake up happy. And this is usually a dream from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and a lot of times we remember them. So the dream that Yusuf had, is it positive or negative?
Positive.
Very positive. What does the dream mean? And I know you guys all know the story. What does the dream that Yusuf had mean to him? That he saw 11 stars, the sun and the moon prostrating to him.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala creation. About all these stars and planets.
Okay. What does this mean to Yusuf himself?
He will be chosen.
Very good, mashallah. That it's actually, he is gonna be somebody of a high status. Because the creation, the stars are massive creations of Allah. The sun and the moons are massive creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah is telling him, at one point will come when these big creations will prostrate to you because you're gonna be at high status. Now specifically, what does the dream mean? Does anyone know?
He's gonna be prophet.
Okay.
His brothers and parents.
Very good. That's exactly what I was looking for. The stars are his brothers. And the sun and the moon are his parents. So they're all going to prostrate to him. Question. Man, I should have brought some chocolate. From his parents, who's the sun and who's the moon? Is the father the sun or the moon? Or is the mother the sun and the moon? And sometimes you might think, okay, well, who cares? But the scholars actually spend time discussing these things. Is the mother the sun or the moon? Or is it the father?
Father is the son. Because he's prophet.
Okay, very good.
He's enlightening people. Mother is also, she's probably making some laws too, but she's probably less lightning.
Very good, mashallah. So some of the scholars, they said, and this is actually the stronger opinion, that because his father is a prophet, that means the son is his father, Yaqub alayhi salam. Some scholars said something else.
Coolness.
Huh?
His father provides coolness to him.
And then the mother is the son. Because outside of his father being a prophet, mothers are usually the kind of the driving force in the family. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala elevates the mothers, the Prophet elevates the mothers. So some of the scholars actually went with the opinion that actually no, the mother is the son. Right? Because she is the one that provides all these children. Who gave Yusuf? Who is the mother? Right? So, and then the father is a reflection of the mother. Wallahu alam, but the scholars kind of went into these discussions to show us how Yusuf is going to be elevated. One point and then we'll end inshallah ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala starts the story with an extreme message of hope. Why? Other than the Prophet ﷺ and it was a message for the Prophet ﷺ. But what does this do to Yusuf alayhi salam? of the things scholars mentioned is that in our lives, us coming into this world is one of the greatest blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Life is one of the greatest blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The ability to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the ability to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the opportunity to go to Jannah, all starts with life. If we're not here, none of this happens. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in that story, He's telling us that this surah is surah about life. That the beginning of our lives is a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is life itself. And the story of Yusuf alayhi salam starts with a blessing. And then at the very, very end, he becomes the king of Egypt. So the beginning of his life and the beginning of our lives are all about the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the end for Yusuf alayhi salam, him becoming king, is also a beautiful end. Where is our end as Muslims? Where does our end, where is our end? When you think about the end of our life, where do we go? Jannah. And everything in between is going to be ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs. SubhanAllah, scholars have said that the story of Yusuf is a story of life. It starts at a high level of hope and the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is our creation, us being born into this world. And in the end is Jannah that is waiting for all of us. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that as you continue to read Surah Yusuf, you're going to see there's ups and there's downs. There's ups and there's downs. And that's exactly the entire surah, how it goes, all the way until the end. And it's also teaches us that this is how our life is going to be as well. Don't expect your life, and mashallah, I have some elders here, some younger guys too. You will see that your life is always going to be this ups and downs, ups and downs. What you need to keep in your mind is what? The end. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling Yusuf, your end is going to be incredible. You're going to have the 11 stars, the moon and the sun prostrating to you. You are going to be better than your own father. Because he's going to prostrate to you. No matter what happens to you in this process, believe in the end. And for us, a beautiful lesson is that we have Jannah waiting for us. All we need to do is to make sure we're on that track. We stay on the track of pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We stay on the track of worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because I have Jannah waiting for me. Are all my days are going to be good? No. Would I have low moments? Yes. Would I have high moments? Yes. We're going to be going up and down until we make the Jannah, inshallah ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts us in the right frame of mind, that the same way He puts Yusuf alayhi salam. One last quick thing, I promise that the last thing is that when Yusuf told his father, there's a couple of things we know about the relationship between Yusuf and his father. Number one, he loves his father and he respects his father. Because there's two ways to read that conversation. One is excitement and two is concern. How? You can imagine Yusuf going to his father and saying, Dad, guess what happened? I saw that there's 11 stars, there's the sun and the moon, and Dad, I saw that they're all prostrating to me. He's excited. He actually recognized that this was a good dream. There is also a concern. It's like, Dad, I saw this dream of 11 stars prostrating to me, and the moon and the sun prostrating to me. So he's concerned. So you can read it either or, the way you read this. What's fascinating is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the verb ra'aytu, which means to see, twice in the same verse. Even though linguistically you might not need. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could have said that, oh my father, I saw the moon and the sun and 11 stars prostrating to me. No, he says, oh my father, I saw the moon, the 11 stars, the moon and the sun, and I saw all of them prostrating to me. The verb was mentioned twice. Scholars said the reason this happened is because Yusuf and Yaqub were having a conversation. So Yusuf went to his father and says, oh my dad, here's what I saw. And Yaqub was like, oh, okay. And he says, and dad, and I saw 1, 2, 3. The other point is that Yusuf actually was paying attention. Like he could have said, I saw some stars. But the fact that he said 11, that means he was paying attention to his dream. He was somebody that was awake. This was not just a dream that is passing. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala again is highlighting all these different things, because when the dream manifests itself in the end of the story, we learn so many things. But what we need to know from the beginning of the story, several things. Number one, Yusuf knew exactly what he was seeing. Number two, Yusuf is going to be elevated at a very high status, even better than his father. And there's a beautiful relationship between his father, Yusuf, and his father. Now what happens after that, how his dad react, inshallah, we'll go about it in next class. The plan, inshallah, that we're going to do this every other week. So every other Monday, we'll have that class, inshallah. So next Monday when there's nothing, the following Monday, inshallah, I'll try to keep it within 15 to 20 minutes. Inshallah ta'ala, jazakumullah khair. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم.